Loved it. And so I tell people, even to this day, you don't need a Wii. I actually went through 3 Wiis. Loved it. But I tell people to this day that you can just turn on a radio in your house.
Oh, sure.
And dance. I mean, if the weather's bad, we use excusitis. I can't go for a walk because it's hot or too cold. But you can turn on the radio and just dance a couple of songs. Mm-hmm. Do it in your underwear. Nobody can see you anyway. Hey friends, welcome to the Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Melody, the nurse practitioner.
We have a super fun show for you today.
Yes!
One of the things I didn't know when Melody came to the clinic was how amazing she was, how smart, how dynamic, how many injections she had done, how she just flowed, and how she's really good with TV and shows and everything. I mean, just like win-win.
Surprise!
But the first time she came to the clinic, I was like, she's very flowy and she has just this presence about her. And when I found out what she does in her free time, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Explains everything, right?
Explains everything.
In my free time, I love to dance. It's one of my very favorite things to do. My personal story with dance actually is when I was a child, I always wanted to learn, but my family was not very well off. We lived in small town Podunk, Arkansas, so there wasn't really much opportunity. So when I was an adult, I went to a brewery one night and there was a gentleman teaching a Latin dance lesson. And I took that Latin dance lesson, and from then I got hooked. And it's been so fun, not just as a hobby, but for my health. Actually, I lost 30 pounds in 6 months without trying. I didn't change my diet. I didn't do anything else. The only thing I did was start dancing. And for me, it's been so good because it's exercise, but it doesn't feel like exercise because I love doing it so much. So if I try to go to the gym and work out for 2 or 3 hours, it's like, oh, even thinking about that possibility. But if I go to a dance social and I'm going to dance for 2 to 3 hours, that gets me pumped. That gets me excited. I'm out there getting all this physical activity, but it doesn't feel like exercise. I get to connect with other people. I get to express myself. I get to create something artistic. So for me, dance has just been so wonderful, therapeutic, not just for my mind, but also for my body.
I think that's absolutely amazing. And today's show is all about, let's find a way for you to do some sort of movement, and let's just get rid of the nasty word exercise. I don't even know why that has such a negative connotation and why it just strikes fear. And even to me, to this day, when I have to have a conversation with a patient, especially if they're overweight, deconditioned, I'm not even going to say, it's about being overweight. It's just what your cardiovascular conditioning is, what you're able to do. Are you able to walk and, play with your kids? Or are you able to keep up? Or are you able to do the things that you want to do? And I still choke on, you need to exercise. And granted, I want to get their nutritional state and their hormone state where they don't feel like they've got a magnet in their butt. I call it like a lead butt or a magnet in your butt. You have to have the energy to do that. And I get it if your thyroid's low or something like that. But I still, even now, choke on that. And I know that that's some conditioning that comes from commercial medicine because they just say exercise more and eat less. And so I think we've just all come to be like, okay, I tried that and it never worked, and so we hear exercise, we hear failure, we hear not good enough, we hear I tried that and I couldn't do it. And then we hear that sounds hard, and then we think of the, run of the ropes at the, the gym and CrossFit.
Flip over a tire. It doesn't have to be that, right?
It doesn't have to be that.
Well, and people get into this misconception that physical fitness is about how you look in a bikini. It's not about that. We're not talking about body shaming or anything like that. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. We're just trying to help you find a way to keep your body healthy so that your heart works the way that it needs to, so that your lungs, your joints, all of these other things can be tied to your exercise and activity routine. So really, really exciting stuff.
I would say when I was a kid, there weren't gyms. I mean, there were some gyms and there was like Lou Ferrigno and stuff. That was our,
Jane Fonda with her leg warmers.
Yeah. Well, that was sort of the transition.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
when it started.
70s. And so it was like, that was really kind of it. And then I think as we started shifting with our food supply, when there was like these obesogens and endocrine disruptors and all these things literally making our bellies bloat, making us overweight, then it became, we better get moving. We better start doing something. And then it started getting into, you know, the walking exercises and stuff like that. And then it kind of grew into this thing where if you're not like killing yourself at the gym and you're not fit and you're not fit in the magazine prototype, then you're not good enough. And so I think there's lots of things behind the reason we choke with the word exercise.
Oh, sure. And if there were one thing that worked for everybody, there would only be one thing, right?
Yeah, right.
So the trick to all of this is to figure out what combination of medical care with hormone balance, thyroid balance, what kind of food your body can tolerate. You might be eating something you're sensitive to and not even know it, and be putting on all this extra bloat and extra pounds just because you're eating the wrong types of foods. Right. And when it comes to exercise, finding something that you enjoy doing that becomes an outlet for you rather than another job that you have to do, right?
I just had an awareness, like a aha moment. And that is that you said if there was only one thing, everyone would do that one thing. That could be the problem, is we do call it that one thing. We use the word exercise. And so we do that one thing, we put that into a box. But really, maybe we need the new term. Maybe it's movement. Maybe it's focused movement. Maybe it's intentional movement or something like that. So you come up with your own word.
Let's start the movement.
The movement. That sounds odd.
It does, right? But it sticks in your brain.
It does. It sticks. The movement. They're saying it's time for a little break. We're going to take a little break and we'll be right back with more movement.
Yes.
When Dr. Tammy saw my medical records and saw the page full of drugs that I was taking for all my conditions, she said she could pretty well take care of everything that I had going on with me. So I decided at that point in my life that I was on walking cane, I was falling and hurting myself, and tremors, couldn't talk very good. I had the masked face and drooling, 9 yards. Since then, all that has subsided since my first stem cell treatment. I had all these specialists, and all they kept doing was pushing more drugs down me. And the drugs cause enough problems as it is. And some of the Parkinson's medicine I was on is horrible. I'll never take it. I was 45 pounds heavier than I am now. My balance was bad. My dementia was getting worse and worse. I couldn't remember from one second to the next. The Parkinson's symptoms had picked up on me and was really starting to accelerate. But it has relieved all that. I have no pain like that because that's muscle contractions. The excessive salavas went away. My hearing's actually improved. I got my smell and taste back, which I haven't had for 15 years. And when it comes back, it's like being born again, you know. It's like for the first time I'm able to smell something again, see whatever, and it's been remarkable in that instance, you know. The main symptoms of tremors are pretty well subsided. It's like, I feel like what it was 15, 20 years ago, when they were treating me for a nerve disorder. So many of the symptoms, I'm on Parkinson's website, so patients like me, the Parkinson's team, and I've got to where I just started telling people about it because stem cells has been a miracle to me.
Welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Melody, the nurse practitioner.
And we are having a fun show today. We are talking about movement.
Movement.
We're going to not use that dirty word exercise anymore. So wherever you are, you can start. And if you would like to explore dance, but before we explore dance, let's explore your shoes because I absolutely
Let's talk about
them.
footwear, right?
Footwear.
So these are actually specific shoes made for dance. If you are going to get into any type of Latin dancing, ballroom dancing, anything where you're spinning and turning, proper footwear is going to be very important. You want to make sure that you have something that's very supportive. These particular shoes have really good arch support with these straps right here, and they have a special sole on the bottom that allows me to spin a little bit better, especially if you have ankle problems, knee problems, hip problems. Proper footwear is going to be very important. Now, you don't have to go out and buy ballroom shoes just because you want to start dancing. If you're dancing just on your kitchen floor, do it in socks if you want to start practicing your spinning. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you have proper footwear that's going to help to take care of your joints while you're dancing.
So you have to come see us for PRP.
I mean, if you need to, but yeah.
So my personal story, when I was little, there weren't gyms. And so what happened was the food supply started changing and people had to do something. And then there was more of a push towards the gyms and things like that. But I never heard of a gym when I was little. I mean, there was tennis courts and there was sports and things like that. But just focus, trying to lose weight or exercise wasn't a thing. And so I would always joke in college, and I went through the college freshman 15, you know, and I would gain weight and lose weight. And I'm tall, so you really can't see a whole lot of it, you know, like, because I stretch out, right? And so I always say you're not overweight, you're under tall. But, you know, and so literally I kind of felt myself really fluffy, and I gained a lot of weight, had a complications with pregnancy, had to take a lot of steroids and stuff, and another story for another day. But what I found was I had gotten fluffy, and all the hormone issues had left me just like I wasn't happy anymore, and I just wasn't like fitting into nice clothes anymore. And so I ordered these exercise videos. I love infomercials, and I would just watch them, and I'd be like, I need that. Literally, those exercise videos sat on my, you know, TV stand for weeks, and then finally I'm like, I'm just going to put them in and watch them. I'm not going to do anything, just going to watch them. So baby steps can be really powerful. And so I watched them. I thought, oh, I can do that, but I'm not going to do anything now. I'm going to do it the next time. So I put it in the next day, and then I thought I can do a few things. And so for the first time, I really found that I was having fun because these people were having fun. And then fast forward, I just started doing more and more and more. And then I put weights on when I was doing my ankle weights. And then I found that I was starting to get a shape again. It's kind of like you said with dancing. Like one day you just noticed you lost a bunch of weight. And I was like, I can do this. And then the Wii came out. A little white box, the controller.
I had one of those.
Loved that. And I got my heart and lung conditioning so good that I can remember we'd have nieces and nephews that would come over and play the Wii with us. The Just Dance is what I did.
Yes, that was one of my favorites.
And they would come over and play, and I could out dance them. Like, I would do 5 songs, and after one song, these kids, and I'm in my 40s, and these kids are like breathing hard. And so I just loved it. And so I tell people, even to this day, you don't need a Wii. I actually went through 3 Wiis. Loved it. But I tell people to this day that you can just turn on a radio in your house.
Oh, sure.
And dance. I mean, if the weather's bad, you know, we use excusitis. I can't go for a walk because it's hot or too cold. But you can turn on the radio and just dance a couple of songs. Do it in your underwear. Nobody can see you anyway.
Well, and we actually had a patient in clinic a couple of weeks ago to that point. We had drawn her blood, and her insulin level in her blood was higher than normal. So what that tells me as a clinician is that this person didn't have diabetes yet, but they were headed in that direction if that insulin level didn't get under control. So fast forward 3 months, she came back in, we rechecked her blood work, and all of a sudden her insulin level had been cut by half. So I'm thinking, okay, she probably started one of those medications that helps lower your insulin. So we're doing her follow-up visit, and I'm like, okay, so did you start taking metformin? Did you start taking semaglutide? You know, what have you done that's lowered your insulin levels? She goes, I have not taken any new medications. Really? Well, what did you do to cut your insulin level by half in 3 months? She says, the only thing that I did was walk on my lunch break. And that's it. Just get up from the desk. She walked on her lunch break, started doing 1 mile, and then 1 mile felt so good she started doing 2 miles. And then 2 miles on her lunch break felt so good that she got up about 15-20 minutes earlier in the morning and started going on a walk before work and on her lunch break. And just that little bit of a difference was so significant that it changed her blood work. So on the front end, it doesn't seem like a lot, But if you think big picture, all of these little choices that we make day to day that improve your health, they add up over time. Health is cumulative. So if you make a healthy choice today, hey, I'm gonna get up and walk, or if you don't like walking, if you just wanna get up and dance, put your favorite song on and get your groove on. You know, just a little bit of movement, a little bit of physical activity. It's so good for your blood flow, for your heart, for your lungs, for your joints, for every aspect of your well-being. So I really encourage you to find whatever it is. It doesn't have to be dancing. It can be walking, it can be kayaking, it can be hiking, but whatever it is that gets you up and moving and feeling that joy and that happiness, I really, really encourage you to do that.
And I always say that sedentary lifestyle begets more sedentary lifestyle. So you
Absolutely.
gain weight and then you don't want to do it. And then so sometimes you just have to push through that barrier and do something. They're saying it's time for a little break. So we're going to take a little break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some dance moves that you can start in your living room today. So you're going to want to stay tuned and we'll be right back.
When I was about 50 years old, I started gaining weight. I never suspected hormones. I didn't know what it was. I tried to cut back on eating. That really didn't work. And when I was about 58, I came home from work one day and my husband had watched Dr. Tammy on television. He had never watched her before and was telling me about hormones and what she was talking about and how it played into weight gain, and suggested that I visit her. And that was August 2020, and I did. And we did some blood work and she determined some hormonal issues and what we could try and what we needed to do. And I tried that. And along with her carb melt, I took that. And that was August 2020. And today, almost 2 years later, I have lost 27 pounds. And I feel great. I get compliments. People ask me, what did you do? And I always tell them about Dr. Tammy and the hormones and the carb melt. It seemed to be very effective for me. And I followed her diet plan. She had a small diet plan that I could follow, and I did. And I'm very happy. It's worked out great.
Hi, welcome back to Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
I'm Melody, the nurse practitioner.
But you wouldn't guess because she's in her dance attire.
Oh, I am in a dance dress right now.
And I am not in dance attire, so I'm going to take these crazy shoes off because these are not dance shoes, clearly. And I'm going to hug this chair as my dance partner because I'm going to let you take the stage, and I might even sit down. Now, you could take the stage, and we're talking today about some easy moves that you can do. So we wanted to show you a few things with modifications. I even tell people, one time I broke my foot and I actually was able to sit in the chair and dance with my Wii and still got exercise. So even if you have bad knees or something, you can still move. And you know, if you can get over the feeling of just feeling a little weird or odd because, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I have 2 left feet, so you can clearly see that. But anyway, I'm going to let you take it away and just kind of maybe just some starting points that somebody could do.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the dance that got me into partner dancing and what I do so much now. It's called bachata. Bachata is kind of a cross between salsa and rumba if you watch Dancing with the Stars. So you've got a lot of the salsa movements, but it's slowed down considerably more like rumba. Bachata actually originated in the Dominican Republic. It kind of branched off from merengue, which is a dance where it's kind of stompy just back and forth like this. But with bachata, you take 4 steps and do a tap. So I'm going to have you do this with me. We're going to start off going left. You're going to go step, 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 and then tap. It's important on this tap not to put your weight down because we're going to go right back that other way. Step, 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 tap. So all together, it's 1, 2, 3, tap, 5, 6, 7, tap, 1, 2, 3, tap, 5, 6, 7, tap. And with that combination of steps, you can go in any direction.
I was scared at first. I was like,
easy.
oh, I'm going to look so stupid and shoot, I'm going to feel embarrassed. See, I even did it.
Yeah, and when it comes to partner dancing, especially in social dancing where everybody gets together, you don't necessarily show up with a set partner and you just exchange partners all night. And people that are starting to learn dance or thinking about getting into dance, they initially have this huge hesitation because they're like, oh my gosh, everybody's gonna watch me and what are they gonna think of me? When you're out on the dance floor, people don't really watch you because they're so involved in doing their own thing, unless you happen to be dancing very, very, very good, and then they will watch you. Or if you're dancing very, very, very odd. Notice I didn't say bad, I said
Elaine
odd,
from Seinfeld.
right? If you're
That's
doing
me.
this kind of thing out there, then they might watch you, right? But most of us are just concentrating on what we're doing. So if you want to turn this into a partner dance, you're gonna start with your right foot as a follow. I'm gonna start with my left foot as a lead.
I'm
just gonna
terrified.
take your
Okay.
hands. You're okay. We're gonna do the exact same thing we just did. You're just gonna start with your right foot instead of your left foot, okay? Ready? 5, 6, here we go. Step, 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 tap, step, 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 tap. See? Super easy, right?
can do this.
And this is a way that you can connect with friends, you can connect with a partner, anything you want to do. It just kind of turns it into more of a social activity. And if we want to get really crazy, I can even make you turn. Ta-da! Ta-da! Right?
Falling over. I'm glad I didn't do that in my heels.
No, you did great though. And if you have a good lead, even though you didn't know how to do that turn, she was still able to do the turn as a follow because I showed you exactly how to do it as a lead, right?
Okay.
So dance lessons are going to be important for some of these types of techniques if you really want to dive into something like this, but there's nothing wrong with just sticking with your step, 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 tap and just having fun with it, right? You can add some hip movement in, some shoulder movement in, just depending on what the song is doing. The important thing is just to get all of these parts moving. My only exercise routine currently is dance. And because of the core movement, because of the arm movements, it's a total body workout. And it's so much fun to do, especially if you get into a song that you really love. So I encourage you to check it out. If you are in the Northwest Arkansas area, there is a place called 612 down in Fayetteville. It's a coffee shop. And every Sunday night at 6 p.m., there is some kind of dance lesson going on.
Oh, nice.
And then right after that beginner's dance lesson, there's a social dance where everybody just gets together and starts dancing. So if you want to check it out in Northwest Arkansas, that would be where I would recommend to start. There are also a couple of other great dance studios in our area. Feel free to give us a call or send us a message on our page, and I'd be happy to direct you to each one of those different studios depending on what style you're interested in.
The girls answering the phone are going to be, people will be calling like, what was that, 612 what? They'll be like, what, 612 what? I'm sure that's not the weirdest call they've ever gotten before, so.
We've had some odd ones. We've had some odd ones.
Yeah,
but
we
yeah.
do get some.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun and that's awesome. And even if you don't want to do something that is a little tricky to get started, a little intimidating, like I say, just turn on the music and just do your thing,
move.
whatever that is. Yeah.
The point is movement, really.
I think there's too something with learning something new that is very valuable because the brain is a muscle too, that if you don't use, you will lose. And so I would say, you know, sedentary depression, just had a patient this week, came in, who's extremely depressed. And, you know, we've got his testosterone going and all his hormones and everything, still depressed. And I said, what's going on with you? Well, he retired a year ago. He's doing nothing, just staying home all day. I said, your prescription, I'm going to get the pad out right now. Your prescription is to do what? He said, well, I can go volunteer at the church. I'm like, done. I said, we're not having more conversations about medications or upping your testosterone until you show me that you have made an effort to get your butt over there and follow this prescription and do something. So, but things that have that added step of learning something new, you're making your brain do something, and that's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
for sure.
And there are studies in the research where dancing actually does help reduce your risk of Alzheimer's because you are using different parts of your brain. So just learning that activity and being able to connect and communicate with somebody else through dance reduces your risk of these long-term super scary brain illnesses.
I love it. All right, this dance moves over for just a minute. They're saying it's time for a break. We're going to be right back with the Naked Doctors. Hi, welcome back to the dancing show.
The movement,
Dancing Queen.
Let's do it.
I love it. We've had a really fun show. I learned a few dance steps. I actually think I could maybe do that. But, you know, one thing too about the We Just Dance is that they also have it as an app on your phone. Not trying to plug Nintendo or anything, but they have an app on your phone. You can literally use your phone. But I find that I don't even use my phone. I don't keep score. I don't like keeping score. I'm not that competitive. But you can still dance, and they have like a little person in the corner, and you can kind of follow their moves a little bit, so that's super fun too. So something you might want to check out, app on your phone, that's the Just Dance app. Super fun. So, it's not all about dance. There's lots of things you can do. Like she said, you can walk, you can, nature walk, anything, just get moving. So really, if you can get that word exercise out of your vocabulary and just say, I want to do some purposeful movement. I also think there's a few things that I do, because now I've modified a little bit. So I have a disc, and it's called an ab circle, and I love that thing. I do it every single day except on Saturdays and Sundays sometimes, because I take a little break and I try to do something else to be active. But literally, it works your core, which I think as I age, I'm 54 now, I think that's very important to work my core for core strength. And then I do strength training with small weights. I don't go nuts with anything. And then I do have an elliptical. It's easy on the knees.
Yes.
And so I can do my HIIT training, which is, we can do another whole show on that sometime, but that's small bursts, because that works well with your hormones like insulin and your estrogen. And also building bone density is really good with that, and dance is really good because it causes a small amount of stress in the bones and the little osteoclasts and stuff, and blasts to build new bone. So especially as you age, I think that certain movements are super important to do, and core. I also have a balance board. It looks like a pizza pan, and it has like a little ball on the bottom. Be careful when you first do that, because you will wobble like crazy on it.
Yes.
Make sure you're hanging on to something. I don't want y'all to get hurt. But literally now I can just bounce on that thing. I never thought I'd be able to do that. But I can bounce on that thing, and I can do weights on it and squats and stuff. So that took a little while to get there with that, but.
Well, and one of the things that I also do for core strength specifically, and for me, I have a history of scoliosis. I have had back pain for years and years and years. So core strengthening has been very, very important, because those natural muscles and tissues are kind of like a God-given back brace. It helps to support those areas so that my back doesn't hurt as much. So the hip movement with Latin dancing certainly helps a lot. But another thing that I've instituted in my home is that during commercial breaks, when I'm watching shows, I have a little hula hoop in my room, and I pick up my hula hoop and just start hooping. And you can get weighted hula hoops. So I would start off with just one that's not weighted, just one that's really lightweight, just get that motion kind of going. And then if you want to bump it up, you can get a weighted hula hoop and really, really, really work on strengthening that core.
I loved the hula hoop when I was a kid. I used to like to do competitions and stuff, and it's been like a really long time.
But why do we stop playing like that? This is all just play.
It is. Because we're told, grow up. That's what we're told.
You got to grow up and sit at a desk like this all day. That's so bad for you.
I always say, growing up is, optional. Growing old is not, but growing up is optional. And, even now I do dollhouses and miniatures and stuff, and I'm like, I'm a 54-year-old, 12-year-old. So I'm okay with that. But, why don't you just think about it? We said movement. Why don't you just think about it as play? So find something that's playful that you can get out and do. If you got grandkids, go walk with them.
The whole family can benefit from this, because, if grandma says, hey, we're all going to go for a hike, then the whole family goes, right? So anything that you can do to improve your health, it's going to be contagious. So I would also encourage you to hang out with other people that tend to be really active, because couch potatoes breed more couch potatoes, right? But active people breed more active people.
Absolutely. So get active. We love you very much, and we just want the best of health for you. And we'll see you back here next time. Don't forget, we're at thenakeddoctorshow.com and Healing Arts Centers. So come see us, and we can help you go dance at 612.
Yeah, or wherever you can find.
Wherever
But yeah,
you can
612
find
on
us.
Sunday nights at Fayetteville. There's my plug for the week.
Awesome. All right. Love you all very much. See you back here next time. Mwah.